Hello, everyone, and we would like to welcome all of you to this edition of Decades La Salle Season 2. I am Rico Hizon, your host, and our guest for this special episode is one of the brightest minds in business and finance. And to all of you Lasallians, you better brace yourself because we're going to have a very insightful discussion with no less than the Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of Finma, one of the biggest conglomerates here in the country, Ramon del Rosario Jr.
Hello, Rico.
Hello,
My
Mr.
gosh,
Rosario.
your energy level is very high. I have to match your energy.
That is the energy of every Lasallian, just like yourself.
Actually, it's good to be back here in LaSalle. It's been a long time since my last time here.
And
maybe mga 5 years na siguro, at least.
And I'm sure, Mr. Del Rosario, a lot has changed since the last time you were here 5 years ago.
A lot has changed,
This
yes.
school continues to innovate.
Absolutely, absolutely. Wonderfully, yeah. Progressively, yeah. Very proud to be part of this school.
What would you like to remember about De La Salle University? I mean, you have achieved so much in this campus. Valedictorian, grade school, high school, magna cum laude. Unbelievable. The highest excellence for any Lasallian.
You know, the highlight to me was the De La Salle brothers themselves. They were not only excellent teachers, they were wonderful people. And a lot of them were role models. Later on, of course, as I progressed, one of the ones who became really a good friend of mine until now is Brother Armin. And I have grown to admire him very, very much. He's got wonderful character and wonderful personality, but also wonderful conviction and values.
And he's a Filipino pride.
Absolutely.
Brother Almin,
He's the
Ruiz
Pope
Rock.
of the brothers now. I mean, yeah.
The Pope of the Lasallian brothers.
Yeah,
And
he
before
is.
that, Education Secretary.
Of course, of course, yeah. And proudly, he is in one of our boards of the Finma. He's on the board of Finma Education, actually. So he participates by Zoom. But yes, it's the presence of the De La Salle brothers. In the early years, it was still a lot of American brothers. And what distinguished them was their ability to teach in a way that was very interesting, humorous to some extent, but very effective. Brother Benedict, one of my favorite LaSalle brothers, was the one who made me appreciate and love math, actually. And I did very well in math through my years with Brother Benedict. So I think, yeah, if there's one thing I would point to, it's the De La Salle brothers themselves. That's why it's important for us to appreciate the work that De La Salle brothers do.
So the influence of the De La Salle brothers made you a Lasallian through and through. Because after grade school and high school, you can go to another university or another school.
17 years in LaSalle. All my education in the Philippines was LaSalle. I didn't even think about going anywhere else.
Not even. No second choice.
No, and even if a fleeting idea came by, was dismissed immediately because there's nothing better.
But you know what? I'm really curious, Mr. De Rosario. Berdeng-berde kayo. Green na green from beginning until the very end. 17 years. Why are you called Boy Blue? Why not Boy Green?
I'm not
How
called.
did it all come about?
First of all, I'm not called Boy Blue anymore. Huh?
But you're still,
we dropped.
people know.
My wife and I decided we're dropping that name. When I went to Harvard Business School, she says, you know, you go to Harvard Business School, Boy Blue doesn't sound like the name you want to be known by. So you're Ramon from here on. Boy Blue, I don't have a clear understanding of why it happened, but I think the most credible explanation is my sister came first, and my parents called her Pinky. I came next, and they thought, I guess, that pink and blue was a cute combination. That's
it's
the
more
only
like pink and
explanation
green. That's a better combination.
No, so that was the name I went by throughout my years until college graduation, actually. Yeah.
Wow, 17
But
years.
then my friends all cooperated because when I went abroad, I was away for 4 years. So it worked. And all my classmates over there, of course, called me Ramon. And then when I got back, wala na yung Boy Blue.
So, Mr. De Rosario, from now on, I'm also going to cooperate with you. this will be the last time.
Thank you.
You will even
Thank
hear
you.
me
Thank you.
saying,
Thank you.
boy blue. That's the last time. Period. Full
Okay,
stop.
no more.
All right. As a
Thank you.
student, Mr. De Rosario, did you feel any pressure to follow in your dad's footsteps? Consider that he was one of the founding fathers of Philippine industry.
No.
No, you were who you were.
I did not feel any pressure, even in terms of academics. I went through my, well, first of all, let me tell you my acute story. When I first came to LaSalle, I hated the idea of going to school.
What?
Why? I did not go through preschool. I did not go through kindergarten. I had no schooling at all until
straight
LaSalle.
to grade 1.
Straight to, it was called kindergarten at the time. Huh? My parents did not even bring me to school. My mother, my father, it was my driver. The driver brought me to school. I was howling and crying. I said, I don't want to go to school. And I was going to be left alone. So I was clinging on to him. I was clinging on to him so hard. I think the buttons of his trousers broke loose. But this would happen every day for about 2 weeks in the first year.
Okay, so what did your mom and dad tell you? My goodness, Ramon, you didn't want to go to school.
Just go. That's what people do. Actually, it got so bad that at one point, my dad got upset. He says, you don't want to go to school? Okay. So he says, get in the car. He drove me to a public school.
Okay.
It looked very run down. It looked muddy, etc., etc. He says, if you don't go to LaSalle, you're going to this school. I said, okay, I'm going to LaSalle.
And you stopped. You didn't anymore cry. You stopped.
Tried
You
hard
stopped.
not to.
Okay,
not
Daddy.
To, yeah.
I will
Sige na
follow
nga,
what you're
sige na nga,
telling me.
sige na nga. So that was my start in all of this. It was not very pleasant. And the next year, it happened again.
Oh, okay. Grade 2.
The way LaSalle was before, kindergarten, tapos prep, and then
Yes.
grade 1.
Oh.
Ganun. But hanggang grade 6 lang, so 8 years talaga.
Okay, all right.
So when there was grade 7, they just moved everything up. Anyway, but then gradually, of course, I got used to the idea of going to school. But that was my rocky beginning here. It was not pleasant. I hated the idea. I pretended to be sick quite a number of times, I'm sure.
Okay.
But over time naman,
That's a very interesting fun fact about Ramon del Rosario Jr. that I'm sure not many people know, not even your colleagues in the business.
No, that's not a story I tell too many times. Yeah.
So what kind of a student were you? I mean,
actually, I was very diligent. On my own, really. I would do my homework every day. I would do my quizzes, etc. And little by little, I did well. I had no idea how well I was doing. It wasn't until 4th grade that I started getting medals. My first medal
What was your
was
first medal?
silver. Silver medal, 2nd place. I don't know, solid. Number 2, I guess, in class, was a silver medal in grade 4. And then, after that, every year.
you got inspired.
After
you got
that,
motivated.
every year I would get medals na. Aba, sabi ko, I guess I'm doing okay, huh? And then in grade 7, I ended up valedictorian of the grade
From
school.
silver medal from being number 2 to number 1.
And there was another guy, I won't mention his name anymore, who was always number 1 until grade 6. So it was terrible, I think, for him. And his mother used to watch over him all the time. They were very disappointed that he did not graduate as valedictorian. But anyway,
he
that's
ended
what
up
happened.
salutatorian.
Yeah.
All right.
And I had to deliver a valedictory speech, even as a grade school valedictorian. And that's the first time I did public speaking, quite honestly. I was relatively shy. I was sort of nerdy, I guess. Yeah, bookish, etc. Not really very open, etc. But I had to make a speech.
So what transformed you from becoming an introvert into an extrovert?
I don't know if I'm an extrovert, but that was my first time to speak publicly. And my dad helped me out. He wanted me to deliver the speech in front of him, etc. And my dad was already a well-known public speaker, I guess, at the time, head of the JCs and that kind of thing. So he helped me out, gave me confidence. I delivered it. It went very well. Aba, sabi ko, kaya rin pala ito. So as I went into high school, my teachers began to think of me as somebody who could speak publicly, etc. So I would get exposed that way, mga contests or even in school, etc. So that became the path. One of the paths for me was being quite active in public speaking engagements, etc.
Wow, this is one
So
thing
that-
pala. I have something in common with Mr. Del Rosario.
you also?
I also joined public speaking competitions.
Yeah.
And I was also part of the debating club. I see here that you
Aba,
were a champion debater.
We were a national champion. But that was my only year as a debater. I did 5 debates and all in that competition. And after that, I was totally retired. Before that, I had never debated publicly either. And I guess we became the team because there was no one else. Really, really, really.
But you proved yourself.
Well, we tried our best. And yung una pa naming kalaban was the star team from Ateneo.
Nako! What? Do you even know that school? The school from Katipunan.
They were newly arrived from the U.S.
Oh, trained.
They were brothers. I'll name them. They don't mind. The Asanza brothers. Si Bing at saka si...
And you defeated them.
Because they really were overconfident, I think. They said, "Who are these twerps? Never heard of us before. We never debated ever before." My partner was Chito Santa Romana, who was many years my junior in school. But we were partnered together. We were partnered together by the debate council or whatever, the head of the debating society. We were put together. And that was fortunate because the mother of Chito was the head of the English department in FEU or UST. And she had access to all the books. So, si Chitong tiga-research for our topics. He would come to our meetings to prepare for the debate with all the books. And his mother would point out to him what are the important books to look at, etc. Wow. So that was helpful.
Well, that is a great. That is also great advice for would-be debaters, right?
Yeah. Look for a good partner who will do all the research, and you just talk.
And an English teacher.
Yeah. So we went from one debate to another. Every time, well, first of all, we did a practice debate among people who were more experienced in LaSalle, and they said we were an absolute disaster. We didn't know the first thing about debating, but we were stuck. We were already entered in this competition. So I told Chito, let's just do our best. And we'll take the tips that they gave us and do what we can. So we did our best. We prepared like crazy. We were really well prepared. So
but you were grounded and you were...
We were totally unexpecting anything. We were totally expecting to lose.
And you just did your best during the competition. And you surprised the Ateneo debating
Each one was a surprise because every time we debated, we were expected to lose, I think. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And then how was your high school and college years here in Taft?
Very pleasant. Very pleasant. I was a party goer.
A party goer and valedictorian
And
the magna cum laude.
We had a group. In those days, it was common to organize a group with a name. Kami, we were the Rebels. And that was prescient. The Mestizo crowd, they had a group called the Falcons. And there were other groups, etc., that had other names, but it was, I don't know, fashionable, etc.
The Falcons and the Rebels.
Then the Rebels. The Rebels. We would even play basketball. Can you imagine me playing basketball?
Yes, I could.
I did. Yeah, I did. And
what was your position in the basketball team?
A scorekeeper.
No.
No.
Point guard.
Shooting
guard.
Guard.
Guard. So you were basically the one who distributed the ball. Created all of those assists.
If you wanna glamorize it that way, okay. But let's not talk about that part of it. But we would also organize parties, and our parties were well known to be pretty fun parties.
Okay.
So I was
of course with
very normal
student.
Assumption,
Inhiran.
Siyempre, Assumption, yeah. Because that's where a lot of our girlfriends were.
Your wife
Was from
Assumption.
Because her tita was the head of Assumption. Si Mother Esperanza was the aunt of Maribig. Yeah. So it was really great fun. But we all worked. I mean, our group was a group of very responsible people. One of my closest group mates then, and one of my closest friends until now, is Ambassador Joey Quisha. We became friends as part of the Rebels, etc. And that friendship has persisted and has been very precious to both of us, I think. Yeah.
So you were a member of the rebels, you were a party goer, you were studious, you attained academic excellence. Did you really, basically, during these times, plan your career path?
No.
Did you really?
No,
No?
no, no,
No?
no, no. I did not
That you
think.
wanted to be
For example, I wasn't
entrepreneur,
obsessed.
a businessman?
I wasn't obsessed with the idea of being valedictorian
Oo.
or excelling. I just did what I had to do on a daily basis, and just did. I was a perfectionist. I needed to know everything before the exams. I mean, I studied like crazy. Even if I didn't sleep the night before, I would study and study and study until I felt
You
I know.
would cram?
Yeah.
Are you a crammer?
Absolutely. Absolutely a crammer, yeah. A crammer both for tests and for papers. Everything was cramming. Yeah.
Cramming, but also naturally intelligent. I mean, there are times when you will not study,
I
but
don't
you would
know.
still get a good grade. There are
I
some
would study
people who are
hard.
like that.
I really studied hard. I
okay.
really studied hard.
And where did you study here on campus? Was there a certain corner?
No. I would
library?
I would study in my room in my house.
Okay.
Kasi the way we would go to school, we had only one driver, and therefore we had to all gather together. And my sister went to Assumption, so we would leave LaSalle and fetch her in
Carpool.
Carpool, yeah. Only one driver. So we would go to the Assumption from here, and her classes would be until like 5 o'clock. Then we would go to fetch my father. That's the way our routine was. So our time was really consumed just getting together and driving home. Then we would all have our meals together, etc. That kind of thing.
And Mr. Del Rosario, for all our viewers right now, Lasallians and non-Lasallians, what were some of the Lasallian values that helped you throughout your life? Grade school, high school, college, and now as a business leader.
Well, I like to think the very basic values of honesty, integrity to start with. I think the brothers, again, going back to the brothers, they were very, very good role models, in my opinion. And as I said, particularly as the Filipino brothers began to emerge, I began to associate myself and identify myself with some of them. And one of the guys I really appreciate is Brother Armin, but there are many others. I think the idea of being honest and being true to yourself. But the other element that I picked up, again, particularly from the Filipino brothers later on, was this whole idea of nationalism and being an active participant in the affairs of society, not leaving things to chance and doing your role in bringing about a better country, making lives better for people, that kind of thing. So that orientation towards serving others, I don't think they would talk about it a lot, but I think by the work they did and the example, I know that they were running, for example, schools for poor kids. And it was not all about the prestige schools. There was St. Joseph's College in Negros. There was the school in Bataan also, schools like that. So I think it was that I took away from it. The whole idea of having strong character, building on principles and values, plus the nationalistic element and the idea of serving others. I think all of these were things that I gathered, of course, mainly from, I think, the brothers and maybe some of the professors, but then over time also, I guess, my other classmates.
And what I think is also very important, Mr. Rosario, is creating a better life for others.
Absolutely.
Creating jobs, opportunities for many of our kababayans, especially during very challenging times in their lives. And now let's talk about Finma and the family's legacy. Finma, for the benefit of our listeners, please give us, in a nutshell, what does Finma do?
Finma now has 4 major businesses. The first one I'll go back to later is education. And this is education for the underserved sectors. I will talk about that in detail later on. We're also in construction materials because our legacy as a group was really in cement. We were very, very large in cement in the past. We were 50% of the entire Philippine cement production. We left it after a while, but we're now back. And construction materials is cement, steel roofing, and insulated panels and other construction materials. And then we're also in property development. But here we're going into what we call the affordable and economic sector. And we are trying very hard to be very active in socialized housing again. And again, the concept here is to make houses available for those who need it and those who have a hard time affording housing. I'll go back to that also later. And then hospitality is hotels. We have a chain of microhotels and trip hotels. And again, it's not for the very high end. It's not the ultra luxury. It's affordable, mid-market, clean, no frills, safe. That's the idea. Make it available for business travelers, backpackers, etc. So
I think what is really key here is education.
And
education for the underserved.
Education is the one I like talking a lot about. Number one, I think it is, whether consciously or subconsciously, it is really the impact, again, of De La Salle in me. Because if you think about it, what was the mission of St. John Baptist De La Salle? It was really to educate the poor. It was really to educate the poor. And that's the mission we've taken on upon ourselves. After we sold out our cement business, we had to figure out what to do next. And we said, the main resource of our country is its people. And if we want this country to progress, our people have to be well educated. And the education system in this country is really not particularly superior, particularly for the poor in our country. They have no access to good quality education. So we said, why don't we try our hand in education for the underserved market?
And how many schools do you have at the moment?
We now have
Mr. Rosario?
Actually a total of 12, but we've clustered them. So effectively 10 in Manila and 1 in Indonesia. And all of these, except for one, the one in Cebu is for mid-market. All the others, the 9 others, are for the underserved. Underserved really means a very challenging proposition, Rico. Because think about it. The kids come to our schools and apply to be college freshmen. But because of the schooling that they received, their capabilities are at grade 4 or grade 5 competency levels in reading and math. They are really not qualified to enter college. They're not ready to enter college. Only 3% of the applicants in our schools are really college ready. But we've told ourselves, if we turn them away, they will be forever poor. So we take them in. We have an open admissions policy. But the challenge is to work with these kids and work with them, number one, to build up their confidence so that they stay in school, and that those who stay in school with us throughout the 4 or 5 year journey will be in a position to take these professional board exams at the end of their career, the same board exams that the guys from LaSalle and Ateneo and UP take, and have a fair chance of passing.
Equal chance.
That's
for
the challenge. And it's not, I keep saying to people, we're not trying to develop Nobel Prize winners. We're just trying to prepare our kids for a life of work and be productive people and be in a position to uplift not only themselves, but the lives of their families. And that's the
do
challenge.
These colleges that Finma has under its wing at the moment specialize in certain areas? Because right now, we're very poor compared to our neighbors when it comes to STEM, when it comes to science, when it comes to technology, engineering, math.
We have some schools that are very strong in medical sciences, particularly Southwestern in Cebu, and University of Pangasinan and University of Iloilo. But the most popular courses, well, nursing, of course, is very popular now again. But the most popular courses are things like business, etc. Business, education. There is one course that is very interesting.
What is that?
The first school that we bought was the Araudio University in Cabanatuan. And the biggest enrollment was in a course called criminology. I said, what is this? What is criminology all about? Criminology is the course people take when you want to be a policeman or a fireman or something along those lines. And I said, what's the story here? Why are so many kids interested in criminology? Then the second school we bought was Cagayan de Oro College. Same story. The largest enrollment was criminology. The story is that in rural communities, there are very few role models. There are the teachers and there are the policemen. And they think of policemen being a policeman as a way to a better life, for better or for worse, whatever it is that goes through their heads. But they enroll in criminology courses as a path towards better lives. And so a large chunk of our enrollment, even now, is in criminology. So what have I told our guys? Listen, guys, we've got so many criminology students. Now we have a responsibility for producing policemen who are honest, have the right values, have the right principles, etc., and will really serve society. Because imagine if policemen become scalawags and they're alumni of our schools. I mean, that would really not be to our credit at all. So yes, we have a whole range of offerings, but the whole idea is to prepare them for a life of work. And we've done very well in terms of our board passing rates. I like telling the story that the first school we bought is LaSalle University. Their passing rate in accountancy the year before we took them on was 0. Every single kid from that school who took the accountancy board flunked. Now we've got years when we have 100% passing rate. Last year, our passing rate overall across all the board exams, including nursing, education, etc., was 83%.
Oh, that's
compared
very,
to 69% as an average, and for many of the courses, it's 20, 25, 30%, etc. So, and the other thing we watch is how soon do our graduates get employed. Yeah. And we track that, and last year, 77% of our kids had a job within a year of graduation. That's something that's not yet perfect. We would like 100% of them to be employed within a few weeks, if possible. But it's progress, and it's working towards improving the lives of our kids. And we now have 146,000 students this year. We are now the largest education network in the Philippines, larger than LaSalle.
Oh my goodness, the largest education network in the Philippines.
LaSalle is the second largest.
But nevertheless, Mr. Del Rosario, you are still giving back to LaSalle. I mean, forever.
Yeah,
I mean, you continue to
have
be committed to LaSalle through this new initiative that you have, the Finma DLSU Center for Business and Society.
Yeah, this Center for Business and Society is a brainchild of mine, because I really think business should give back to society. When you think about it, so much of the resources of our country, of the financial resources, of the physical resources, are in the hands of business people. And then business executives, whether we like it or not, have a place in society where their employees look up to them, their customers look up to them, their peers look up to them for guidance and their opinions, etc. So they have, in my mind, a leadership role to play. And I think it is good to remind our business colleagues of the need to serve society as well as generating profits. That's what the whole idea is. To start with the kids who are still in school and inculcate this idea that beyond profits, one must also think in terms of what one can do to improve the lives of fellow Filipinos, to improve the quality of our society.
One of the brightest minds in the business world. Based on your experience, Mr. Del Rosario, what are the mistakes that can kill a startup business or an ongoing business?
Well, first, we have had our share of failures even in Finma. You have to study the market very well, of course, and you have to understand the intricacies of the business. There are all kinds of what they call black swans. There are all kinds of unexpected occurrences that happen in business, and sometimes they are very devastating. So you just have to use your best senses to figure out what you're capable of doing, what the market conditions will be like, what your customers are really looking for, and make sure that your product fits, whether it's a physical product or it's services. These are the services that people look for. I think that's the general framework. It's a question of studying your market and knowing your customer very well and serving their needs so that you are in a position to satisfy a need. Yeah.
And a lot of business administration, marketing, people who want to join the business world, want to join the corporate setup. For example, in Finma, what kind of student or a fresh graduate are you looking for to join the Finma ranks?
Well, across the board, we've got all kinds of openings. In our schools, we're always looking for education graduates to to beef up our faculty. By the way, one of the strategies we've adopted in our schools to allow us to get the best faculty is our faculty is the best paid
there you go.
teachers in every area where we are. You know, it's funny, not many people realize this, but the government salaries for teachers is higher than the private sector because the law has been passed where they augment teacher salaries all the time. So a lot of private schools have a hard time competing with government for the best teachers. But we've made it our business not only to benchmark against government, but to be the best payers everywhere we are, so that if salary is a chief motivator, we can compete. But not only that, now that we've developed our reputation with being serious educators, people like to be associated with us. So number one, we're always looking for education graduates. Yesterday, I just encountered somebody who was one of our own graduates, who's now one of our aspiring deans already in one of our schools in Southwestern, in our own Finma schools. So we're looking for people across the board, accountants, nurses. My gosh, there's such a demand for nurses
Absolutely.
now. Absolutely.
It's like a brain drain of nurses.
Absolutely, yeah. They're being grabbed by all the countries now and being given all kinds of incentives, not only visas for themselves, but for their families and eventually citizenship and stuff like that. So it's a big challenge. So across the board, there are all kinds of opportunities in the Finma group. In the Finma group, we're in education, we're in construction materials, we're in hospitality, and we're in properties. So
Finma continues to hire LaSalle graduates.
Oh, yeah.
Only LaSalle graduates.
Not only LaSalle graduates, Finma education graduates also. Yeah. So we do have our own schools now. So yes, we continue to
Of
hire.
course, you always have that IQ, which you're looking at. What about the EQ?
Of course, that's very, very important.
What characteristics are you looking for?
Well, the ability to relate to your customers, I think, is very crucial. The way we've grown, by the way, the way our schools have grown also has involved interesting recruitment strategies. We don't sit by and open our doors and expect the kids to just come to our schools. We actively recruit, and what we do is we farm out people to the senior high schools in the areas and tell them about Finma education and the school that's there. But through the years, we've also developed a reputation for being a nurturing school. You know, during the pandemic, most of the private schools suffered declines in enrollment. The Finma schools, particularly in the two most serious pandemic years, our enrollment grew by 20% each year. And we were trying to figure out, what have we done right?
What's the formula?
Yeah, what's the formula? Several things, but one of the key things is this, what I call a nurturing environment. Our faculty and our staff are trained to look after our kids. When our kids, for example, have absences, we immediately try to find out what's going on. And more often than not, they say it's financial, but we probe, we talk to them and say, is it really financial? Sometimes it's really academic, they have a hard time, etc.
That's great that your educational system has heart.
And
right?
sometimes,
Right?
Rico,
You wanna know
we don't stop with the student himself or herself. We go to their homes. When we're not able to connect with the student, we visit them in their homes. And the parents are very pleased. They say, my gosh, iba itong Finma na ito ha, pumupunta pa sa bahay namin.
Malasakit na yung
And
malasakit.
apparently that thing spreads by word of mouth. Yeah, there's a heart.
Yeah.
And there's a real caring attitude. That's part of the reason for our success.
A school that cares.
Yeah, we're very proud of that. Yeah.
I mean, you've achieved so much as a leader, as a business leader, Mr. Del Rosario. Do you still continue to grow as a leader? Are you still continuing to learn as a chief executive, as a chairman?
Yeah, the next challenge that I really want to go into, housing is also a major problem in our country. I want to do in housing what we've done in education. I want affordable housing to be available to the underserved sector at prices that they can afford. And this is the whole idea of going back into socialized housing in a big way. Socialized housing is legally mandated. All housing developers are supposed to have a socialized housing component. But do you know that most of the major developers have decided that they would rather pay the penalties under the law rather than go into actual socialized housing? It's easier, and they say less costly, just pay na lang the penalty. We will not do actual socialized housing.
Shortcuts.
Yeah, but there's no socialized housing that
Yes.
gets built.
Especially for marginalized kababayans.
Yeah, so what I want to do is for us to go into socialized housing and even offer our services to these other developers. You give us your properties, we will develop the socialized housing and allow you to comply. That's my dream. That's the next thing I really want to do in a big way. It's still a challenge. We're not there yet, but if we can do that, then it will be nice to be able to satisfy both education and housing. Then the next step would be hunger. Yeah.
So many challenges that we have to
Absolutely. In a
address
country
here
like ours, you
in
never
the
run out.
Philippines.
You never run out. Yeah, you never run out. So,
And you were always there. to
well, I
always
tried.
take that
We
step
tried
help
to be.
our countrymen.
I'm a pakialamero. Yeah, I don't like.
Have
I
you
don't
always been
like
a
the idea.
pakialamero
I don't
ever
like.
since?
I don't like the idea that you look at someone else. It's our national leaders, etc. No, at the end of the day, we do our part. We have to do our part, and that's what I believe in. That's part of what I want to inculcate in our business school students through this center of ours. That each one of us has a responsibility for the kind of society that we have.
Mr. Del Rosario, we have a question here from a scholar of LaSalle,
Okay.
and his name is Brett James.
Okay.
Let's hear his question
All right.
for Mr. Del Rosario.
Okay, Brett.
Hello, Mr. Ramon del Rosario. I am Decades La Salle, a political science and accountancy student from the College of Liberal Arts of LaSalle University. This is a question from one Lasallian to another. Considering your time at DLSU, how do you believe the three Lasallian values of faith, service, and communion have contributed to shaping your business approach throughout your career?
Well, it's what I've been talking about. And that's what's behind this idea of a Center for Business and Society. It's the whole idea of the values. What are we here for? And I think it's a Lasallian value, this idea of being the change you want to be. This is the idea that the kind of society we have depends on what we do for our society. And that's what I think I have taken away from LaSalle. And I've taken it to heart, and all of our businesses now have that as a mission. Our whole tagline in Finma is making lives better. Yeah.
Making lives better for every
For
Filipino.
everyone. Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And there's also a question here, Mr. De Rosario. Do you have a social media account?
What
Are you on
what counts
TikTok?
as social TikTok and
Are you on TikTok?
hindi
Are you on TikTok?
hanggang email lang ako tsaka Viber. Sorry.
So not
No.
even Facebook.
No.
So that Facebook account that I see of you is not you.
Maybe it's me because I just peep to see what's in there, but I don't activate. I never post anything.
You're a lurker.
Lurker
They
ba
call it a
tawag doon?
lurker. You just basically read
I
what other
look
people post.
because somebody told me the way to understand what's going on is to have a Facebook account and see what's going on. Even TikTok. No, not TikTok.
Not even Instagram.
X.
Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter. I have an account there, but only to see what's being posted.
So at this age, you wouldn't want to anymore. You wouldn't want to be active anymore. on
What do you
social
mean
media.
at this age?
Oh, golly gee.
Tell me.
Yeah. At this age of 45. You
Okay.
wouldn't want to be anymore active on social media, Mr. De Rosario.
No. I have no desire. Taylor Swift does not have to worry about competition from me.
What was the last concert you watched?
Last concert I watched, I don't remember. But I go to Peta Place.
Peta Play.
Yeah, I go to Peta Place. I don't watch concerts really. Maybe the last concert I watched was a San Francisco Symphony concert.
classical
I like
music.
classical music.
I
yeah.
love. Who's your favorite classical composer
Well,
and conductor?
Beethoven, of course, is my favorite. I used to like, the San Francisco Symphony has this Michael Tilson Thomas. He's pretty good, but I like sila. This Jewish conductor, what's his name? The name escapes me at the moment. Anyway, yeah. I enjoy classical music a lot.
Classical music. And now, we would like to thank, of course, the LaSallian scholar who asked that question, Brent James.
Okay.
And thank you, LaSalle, for your continuous effort in supporting our scholars and our students through the program Lasallian Giving. And to our dear alumni who also want to leave a legacy and strengthen our Animo spirit. You can also support DLSU through its several projects and campaigns. We have our scholarship programs through the Lasallian Legacy Fund. We also have projects to support our athletes through the Sports Animo Fund. And we also give opportunities to students to harness their creativity through the Seats for the Arts Fund. You can also help build the faith of the Lasallian community by donating to the Santuario de La Salle, located on DLSU's Laguna campus. The Santuario de La Salle is the first sanctuary built in honor of our founder, St. John Baptist de La Salle. And for more info, you may email edwin.reyes@dlsu.edu.ph or advancement@dlsu.edu.ph. You know, Mr. Del Rosario, we were talking about the Falcons, right? And the Rebels. The Tisoys and the Pinoys. I'm sure there are a lot of myths about De La Salle during your time here in Taft. Could you give us some of the myths that are not LaSalle, that are not being a Lasallian? Debunking myths about being a Lasallian.
For example, what? Nothing comes to mind. In those days, of course, the mestizos were still the star athletes.
There you go.
Yeah.
They were
particularly
also
football.
Conyos.
Of course, Conyo kids.
The Conyo kids.
Yeah. Particularly football was dominated by them, but even basketball, a lot of them were mestizos at the time. They were really very good athletes, and they're very fun people. I mean, they were very nice. A lot of classmates of mine. One of my good friends throughout grade school and high school was a fellow by the name of Chiqui Ramirez. He was not a particularly athletic guy, but he was very smart. He became a full professor at Stanford. Wow. And he still is there now. The only classmate of mine who became a full professor in a major Ivy League school. LaSalle has been known to attract the mestizos and also good Chinese population. They have enriched the experience here in LaSalle. I don't know about myths. Tell me about myths. What? They're not myths.
They're for real.
They're for real. We're sociable people. We're nice people. We're grounded. We're grounded. We're much nicer than people from other schools. That's why they prefer hiring us and working with us.
Yeah, because they say that Lasallians are social. And they only
social,
love
but
cars.
in a nice way, huh?
Oh, and they love their cars.
Yeah, true.
Oh.
That's again not a myth. Not a myth. But it's really not a myth
mayabang.
that we're really
not boastful.
No. We're only proud of the fact that we're such nice people.
And we're proud Lasallians.
Yeah. We're proud of that. Those are not myths. Those are all genuine facts.
And on that note, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Mr. Ramon del Rosario Jr. for joining us for this special edition of Decades La Salle Season 2. We've learned so much of our chat. One, having focus in life, studying hard. Nothing comes easy in life. Hard work and perseverance. And all of this we learn from the Lasallian brothers and from the Lasallian education.
Absolutely.
And it is very important that when we graduate from these walls of De La Salle University, we have to give back. We should not forget.
Yes, please do so. Yes, no, of course, yeah. We have to support our own school because it's doing such great work, and it's our only way really of showing our appreciation is to give the fullest support we can in whatever way we can. Not only monetarily, but sometimes with ideas, with initiatives, etc. Just continue supporting the work.
And
that
many Lasallians have excelled in so many industries,
so many
not
fields.
only
That's
in business.
Because we're such nice people. Okay.
And lastly, Mr. Del Rosario, please complete this sentence. I am a Lasallian. Of course, I am blank.
I am interested in making lives better for everyone.
There you go. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat for joining us on this episode of Decades La Salle Season 2. I am Rico Hizon, your host. Animo LaSalle.
Animo LaSalle. Thank you, Rico.
Hail,
I enjoy that.
hail,
Alma mater. Hail to De La Salle.
Decades La Salle would like to thank our sponsors. KFC, Mr. Donut, Tokyo, Morolite, and Silingan Coffee.